of our layers completed. I've tidied each and every one of them up. So they're all full at the bottom here now. So make sure that each of them have enough space or room. You don't want to crop them down too much so they're too short. So do make sure you go through every single layer and make sure you have added enough information. You might have some missing, you might have some that are long enough. All of them might be completely fine, so you probably don't even have to do some of what I've done, but it's just in case some of you, particularly if you're using your phones, you can just make sure that everything's aligned correctly. It's really important just to make sure it's done that, so that as you go through them, like a little animation, everything's aligned. And of course these things do take time, but once you start getting used to using layers and cutting and pasting, you can do that. One of the things I did in the last video was talking about my layers and numbers, so just make sure that you're making reference to your own layers and your own numbers, because they'll be completely different from mine. So just be aware that, you know, if I've said, oh, look for layer 8 or something, just make sure that you are considering your own recommended images that you have for each single movement of your GIF that you're going to create. Anyway, to cropping. Crop tool is this one here, okay? So make sure that when you use that, you can just click it anywhere, it doesn't really matter, and it will just go to the outside framed area, okay? So that's really helpful. Now one of the things I notice is that when you go from the corner, it tends to do something quite strange. So perhaps just take one side at a time and make sure you put your guides in. If you don't know how to do guides, Control R will bring up rulers, or Command R, and then you can pop in your guides. Okay, I think in the first video I said about 1 centimetre all the way around. That's probably sufficient. We don't want to crop it so much that we lose too much information, so we're just cropping it a little bit. When you're happy with that, just double click inside, or you can go up to this little tick up here, you can accept it up there. Okay, so now we've got all of our images completed. They're roughly all laid out in a way which I'm happy with. And now it's time to create our actual GIF. So I'm going to go back up to my select tool here. And you'll find timeline here in Windows. So go to Windows, timeline, and it will pop up a little menu underneath. So this is where we're going to create a frame animation. So what we're going to do is we click on create frame animation, and it will come up with the first one that we've got there. Okay, and then we need to go over to the right. There's a little set of lists, I guess you could say, here on the right, and we're going to go into create a new, make frames from layers, sorry, not create new ones. We're going to make frames from layers. So what we're doing is it's going to select all of the layers that we've got there. Do make sure that you have them all at 100% opacity and they're in the order that they should be in. So just double check those things if you haven't done so already. Also make sure you save, okay, at this stage as well, so that if you do need to go back and correct something, you can do that, okay? Alright, so let's go and make frames from layers, and there they've all come up just there. Now if I click on each of those, you can see subtle movement, and you can see also on that one it hasn't cropped so clearly. We might go back and complete that later. I'm just going to leave it for now because I want to show you how to actually create a GIF, but I'm just going to go through and check to see if I have missed any, and I have, that are not quite right. I might even just crop it. Oh, there's another one that's not quite right as well. So what I might do is I'm just going to go Control Z, back to my cropping, and I'm just going to lift that up just a little bit, and hopefully that will crop out enough. So I'm just going to fix that up so when we go back into our timeline, hopefully that will be all correct and it's still showing enough information, so let's just see how that goes. So cropped, create frame, animation, pop over to the side, make frames from layers. Oh, this time, why is it reversed it? There we go, that's interesting. So in this time, it has, I think I must have selected the bottom one first. This time it selected the first one last, and the last wolf shall be first, so that would be interesting. But that's okay. We can have the butterfly flying away, or you can have the butterfly doing the reverse. So you can change this in the timeline too. You can just easily move these around to where you want them to be. Just make sure you keep an eye on a track of where they go. I'm just going to leave mine as is, like so, and I'm just going to go back and check through them again. I think all of that is cropped correctly now. Okay, alright, so you'll notice that it says 0 seconds. Now you can leave it like as is, so just play it and you can have a bit of view already. So there's a little play animation. You can select all of them using the shift key to hold down and then click on the last one. Then you can click in here. You can change it to some kind of delay, no delay, and obviously 0.1 seconds, 0.2, etc., etc. You probably don't want to go all the way up to 1 second. I'll just show you what that does. So that's a 1 second delay between each frame. 1 second's quite a long time when you think of frames, so it's probably not something you want to actually do. Perhaps something like no delay, or maybe 0.1 or 0.2. Let's try 0.2 and see what that looks like. It's still considerably fast, but it's just got a little touch. It's a little slower. You'll notice here in some of the images there's quite a shiny spot, and that's just from the light from the camera or the light in the room shining off and reflecting from the images. There are other things. You could go in and actually tidy that up in Photoshop. For our little short animation, we're not going to worry too much about that, but if it does bug you, you can go and tidy up each frame, or you can make sure that you just are taking correct frames every single time. So, but look, these are just fun little GIFs, and it just gives you an idea about how you can do that, and how much detail you put into your GIF is related to how much time you have as well. So if it's just something that is going to be shown quickly on the net, or you're going to be sending to somebody, if it's a piece of artwork, you might want to spend a bit more time on it. If it's for a movie, or